Cathedral. Raymond Carver's short story, Cathedral, is a touching tale about a blind man who visits a married couple. The story is narrated by the anonymous husband, who at first struggles to deal with the blind man's visit. This is because he has never interacted with a blind person before. However, as the night progresses, the husband learns a valuable lesson about understanding and connection. The story begins with a man and his wife waiting for a blind man named Robert to arrive at their home. The man isn't happy about Robert's visit because he feels self-conscious around blind people. Robert and the man's wife have been pen pals for years. At first, the man dislikes Robert. He wonders how he will get along with him for the whole evening. As the three of them sit down to dinner, the man struggles to find things to talk about. This makes him feel increasingly awkward.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Chicolene.
And today we are beginning a long story, aren't we, Chicolene?
Yeah, it's a long story about...
It's called The Cathedral. And it's not about a cathedral.
Okay.
Not really. It's not building a very large church, which is what a cathedral is, a very large Christian church. It's an interesting story about a couple who meet a blind man. And about the man, the sort of the husband of the couple, how he sort of has different feelings about this meeting. At first he's uncomfortable, and then he learns a lot and comes out of it a better person. It's a very interesting short story. It's by the famous author Raymond Carver, and I think we should just get into it.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, okay.
Once we start the story, people will understand it much more than if we just sit here talking about it. So let's get into it. The first sentence reads, Raymond Carver's short story, Cathedral, is a touching tale about a blind man who visits a married couple. All right, so yeah, that's the basic story. As we explained it earlier, there's a blind man. That means, of course, someone who can't see. And this man is friends with this couple, this married couple, and he meets them. And the title is there too, Cathedral. I think I mentioned what it is, but Chicolene will tell us more.
Yeah, so Cathedral 老师刚刚有讲哦 This is a large church 就是超级大教堂所以 Raymond
Is there a cathedral in Taiwan?
I don't know.
I think maybe in Kaohsiung. I think there might be an important...
So there isn't one in Taipei?
I don't think so, because a cathedral needs a bishop or an archbishop.
Oh, okay.
A very senior church figure, senior church leader. But I think maybe in Kaohsiung there might be a cathedral. But of course, if you've been to Europe, you've probably been to St. Paul's Cathedral in London or Notre Dame Cathedral, of course, which had that terrible fire a few years ago in Paris. So picture that. You can picture a cathedral. And yeah, it's the title of the story.
所以 Raymond 的短篇故事呢，它的 title 是大教堂，它是一个 touching tale。touching tale 就是很动人的故事，它是有关于一个盲人拜访一对夫妇的经历。
All right, so now we get into it. It says, the story is narrated by the anonymous husband, who at first struggles to deal with the blind man's visit. All right, so that's who's telling the story. When something is narrated, that means basically that is a person telling you the story, telling you what's going on. So if you're telling your friends an interesting story, you are narrating the story. Or if you read a book and there's a sort of a character in the story who is sort of talking about the story, introducing people, that is the narrator, which is a role in a storytelling situation, or the verb to narrate.
所以呢 to narrate is to tell a story 就是去讲故事叙述一件事情那么当然讲故事的这个人我们就可以叫他 narrator 那另外一个字呢我们看到 anonymous 这个就是匿名的意思所以我们不知道丈夫这个 husband 他是谁反正呢这一则故事呢就是由这个匿名的丈夫来叙述那起初呢他对这个盲人的拜访感到非常的困惑不知道怎么应对
All right, so yeah, we don't know exactly who this narrator is, but we know it's the husband. He's anonymous. We don't know his name. We don't know, what he looks like or what his job is. It's not really that important, but he's the person telling the story. And he's nervous. Now, why is he nervous or why is he struggling to deal with the blind man's visit? And it explains why. This is because he has never interacted with a blind person before. Sometimes when we don't kind of meet that kind of person or spend time with that kind of person, it might make some people uncomfortable.
所以 interact 就是互动嘛，那跟谁互动？我们后面教一个对象，它就是 interact with someone. So the noun form is interaction. 那这是因为呢，他从来没有跟盲人互动过的关系，所以他觉得有点 awkward， 有点尴尬的。
All right. So obviously they spend some time together that evening, and it seems we jump forward in the story a little bit. It says, however, as the night progresses, the husband learns a valuable lesson about understanding and connection. All right. So yes, time is passing in our story. The night is progressing. And yeah, progress is a word that gives us this idea of moving forward in time. You can progress in many ways. If you study, you will move forward in being smarter and move forward in your studies. But we can also use it to talk about time passing. Let's look at our example sentence for this word progress. As the basketball game progressed, it was clear that the LA Lakers would lose. And they did.
Okay.
Oh, well. But I'm sure they learned a valuable lesson by losing that playoff game or something. Valuable means very useful and important. Often, yeah, we think of diamonds and gold and expensive art as being valuable, but your friends are valuable. Your loved ones are valuable. Good health is valuable. I'm sure Chikalin thinks Charlie, her corgi is super valuable. No one would actually ask to buy them. She wouldn't have to give someone a price for what her dog costs, but he's very, very important to her. And if she lost him or something happened, she would be super, super sad. So things can be valuable in ways that they aren't just about money. For example, Rupert learned a valuable lesson when he forgot to set his alarm clock at night and then was late for work the next morning. He will never make that same mistake. So that's the valuable lesson he learned.
所以呢，我们文章出现这个 progress， 它是时间的推移。不过除了当时间推移呢，也可以当一件事情进步，或者是有进展的意思。比如说 he soon progressed from the basics to more difficult work. 那这个字呢是动词嘛，可是当名词也可以，比如说 to make progress， 它就是会有进展的意思。Instead of making progress, his work actually seems to be going backwards. 好像没有进步，反而是倒退路的感觉哦。好，那刚刚老师有提到 valuable 这个字，不只是指金钱上的贵重，它也可以是一个东西很珍贵。比如说菠菜好了 ，spinach is a valuable source of iron， 就是这个菠菜是很丰富、很有价值的这个铁素的来源。今天的 Language and Focus， 你们先来看一下。要来讲一下 as, when 跟 while， 因为老师刚刚的文章中有提到嘛。那我们这三个字呢，都可以当从属连接词哦。那我们先来看一下使用的时机。假如今天你的主要子句呢，它是短暂性的动作，从属子句呢是持续性的动作，或者是在背景发生的时候，那么三个都可以互相的使用并替换。比如说 the power went out as or when or while I was studying 都是 OK 的。我在读书的时候停电了。可是假如今天呢，你的主要子句是持续性的动作，那么你的从属子句呢是短暂性的时候，那我们通常就会使用 when 来连接两个句子哦。比如说 Michael was talking on the phone when I opened the door。那么假如今天两个句子，主要字句跟从属子句都是短暂性的动作，我们就会使用 when 来连接两个句子。比如说 When I entered the room, Jessica turned off the light. 我进房间的时候 Jessica 就把灯关掉了。那刚刚都是短暂性的嘛，假如今天两个句子都是持续性的动作，我们就只能使用 as 跟 while。比如说两个动作同时进行，互相影响，我们就会使用 as 这一个字哦。My heart began to beat faster as the witch walked toward me. 随着那个巫婆走向我，我的心跳就一直加快。那么如果两个动作同时进行，不过它们没有互相影响，我们通常会使用 while 这一个字。比如说 Laurel was cooking while her daughter was listening to music. Laurel 女儿在听音乐的时候呢，她人是正在煮饭的。所以呢，我们就知道说，这个文章中随着夜幕降临，这个丈夫他就学到了关于理解跟与人们的连结宝贵的一课哦。 So next, what happens in the story?
Well, the story begins with a man and his wife waiting for a blind man named Robert to arrive at their home. Okay, so we're kind of going back to the beginning of the story to really see what happens in this very interesting tale. So there is the man, that's the narrator. Remember, he's just a man. We don't have to call him John or David or whatever. He's a man, he's married to this woman, his wife, and they're waiting for this blind man named Robert to arrive at their home. And you can imagine the man has been a little nervous about this visit for maybe a few days.
OK， 所以故事怎么是开始的呢？就是一个男人跟他的妻子，他们等待一名叫做 Robert 的盲人要到他们家做客。
All right. The man isn't happy about Robert's visit because he feels self-conscious around blind people. When you feel self-conscious, you're sort of super careful about what you say or what you do. You know, if you're with someone who looks different from you, you don't want to catch yourself staring at them or asking them rude questions or something like that. You don't quite feel relaxed and natural when you feel self-conscious. You're being very aware and very careful and probably a little bit worried.
Right， 所以这个人对于 Robert 的来访其实不太高兴的，因为他总觉得在盲人的周遭是不自在的哟。So what's the relationship between Robert and the man's wife?
Yes, that's where we learn about that. It says Robert and the man's wife have been pen pals for years.
Okay.
All right, so they've known each other kind of like internet friends, right? They've known each other for a long time, but maybe have never actually met in real life. Back in the old days, you might learn about a person, get their address, and just trade letters with that person as you get to know them. And those kinds of friends that you had through writing and mailing letters, those were called pen pals.
他们是多年的笔友关系。
At first, the man dislikes Robert. Oh, well, so he's not very happy about the man coming, about Robert coming. The man feels self-conscious, and so this doesn't put him in a very good mood, and he really doesn't like Robert, or he dislikes Robert. Now, to dislike probably doesn't surprise you in that it means to not like. It doesn't mean you hate something, right? If you dislike something, you're just like, nah, I don't like it. For example, Abigail dislikes it when people push in front of her in line. Well, yeah, because that's kind of rude. Abigail won't scream and cry and call the police, but she'll definitely look at that person and go, what are they doing? Pushing in line. I don't like that.
Yeah, so dislike can also be used as a noun. Now, when we use it as a noun, we can say the children have a dislike of school. That means the children don't like school.
Absolutely. I don't think a lot of children do. Back to the article. He wonders how he will get along with him for the whole evening. All right, so here's the man again being self-conscious, worrying about the night and how it will go and what he should do. So he wonders how he will get along with him for the whole evening. The man is really not very confident that he can get through this whole night with this blind man without doing something wrong or saying something wrong or looking like he's in a bad mood or something like that. So he's kind of imagining, he's thinking. That's what we are doing when we wonder about something. You're kind of asking a question, but you're not really expecting an answer. Maybe there's no way to get an answer, but you're definitely you're thinking about it. You're kind of turning it over in your mind. But it's kind of just like a thinking of a question and kind of, hoping for an answer, but the answer isn't super important. Right? For example, I wonder what people in ancient China ate for breakfast. I never thought about that, but yeah.
Maybe soup.
Probably soup.
Chicken soup.
Probably not bacon and eggs.
No, of course not.
Not American-style bacon and eggs. Definitely not sugary cereal.
No. That's so American.
That. But also probably not gongbao jiding.
Maybe not.
No, probably
That's
not.
for dinner, I think.
Yeah, that's for dinner. There you go. So we've wondered about this a little bit.
好的，所以呢 wonder 就是想知道嘛，那么这个字呢也可以当惊讶或惊叹，当名词也可以哦。好，所以呢whole 有没有看到 whole 这边是指全部的或整个的啊？比如说老师刚刚有讲到 entire， 所以so what does it mean?
Whole, entire, all of something, 100% of something. That's what it means. The whole thing, all of it, not leaving out a piece or a small part. For example, after the game, the hungry players on the baseball team ate 15 whole pizzas.
Crazy.
There were no doggy bags. No one took anyone home. They finished all 15 pizzas.
哇，超多。老师刚刚讲的 doggy bag 就是外带，就是那个你东西吃不完打包的意思，打包袋。所以我们也看到 get along，get along 就是去相处融洽。那这个字也可以当成应付，比如说 How are you getting along in your new job？ 所以其实呢，起初这个丈夫不是很喜欢盲人的因为他就会觉得说，好，我到底应该怎么跟 Robert 共处整个晚上啊？
All right, so as the three of them sit down to dinner, the man struggles to find things to talk about. All right, so there he is again, feeling self-conscious, feeling uncomfortable. What do I talk about? You know, I can't say, hey, did you see that new movie? Oh, he's blind. He didn't see the
so
movie.
Bad.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's what he's worried about because he doesn't want to feel uncomfortable. Or as it says next, this makes him feel increasingly awkward. All right, feeling awkward is kind of like feeling uncomfortable, feeling embarrassed, being afraid of doing the wrong thing, you know. So increasingly is just another way of saying more and more, all right? To increase is to get bigger or go higher or get larger or something. So increasingly is doing something in a way that makes it more and more so, all right? For example, Joshua is finding it increasingly difficult to keep up with his advanced Russian class. He had no problem in the first month, but now he's finding it more and more difficult to follow all the homework and, you know, pass his tests.
所以 increasingly 就是日益增长的，那它是来自于 increase 这个动词跟名词哦，还是增加的意思。所以如果是大力增加、大幅增加，我们英文就可以说 to increase dramatically or significantly。比如说 the number of homeless people has increased dramatically， 代表呢越来越多的 homeless people 了。所以呢，其实跟这个盲人相处，丈夫是感到相当尴尬的。So our track question for today is, why do you think the husband struggles to find things to talk about with Robert?
Oh, well, probably because as we learned very early in the story, he's never really spent any time with a person with a physical handicap like this, with a physical disability. He's never spent time with a blind person. And yeah, he's afraid to say the wrong thing. I mean, if you're trying to have a normal conversation and you normally, as I said, talk about movies or you're a big baseball, hey, did you see the baseball? Oh, we didn't see the baseball game on TV. You know, so I think it's really, maybe it's coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to hurt his feelings. He doesn't want to be rude. Yeah. Exactly. You know, he doesn't want to say the right thing. So he's trying to be sensitive, but that's also making him feel like he could be in trouble if he says even the littlest thing in the wrong way. So I think that's probably why. I think the more time you spend with people who are different from you, the more you learn from them, and also the more you'll be relaxed the next time you meet someone who's different from you. And we're going to find out more about that idea in the next part of our story. So please come back and join us for that. Until then, all the best and bye-bye. Vocabulary Review.
Progress. As the story progresses, the reader starts to know more about the main character's past. Valuable. The library is a valuable source of knowledge. You can find books on different subjects. Dislike. Ethan dislikes talking on the phone. He prefers to speak to people in person. Wonder. Sally saw a shoe on the top of a roof and wondered how it got there. Whole. Wendy was mad at her brother for secretly eating the whole cake all by himself. Increasingly. The teacher grew increasingly angry when no one could answer the simple question.
智慧小补帖
Cathedral. Narrate. Narrate. Anonymous. Interact.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000。 或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net